The city of Canton is rich with history. Many people have called Canton home through the years, and many businesses, restaurants, movie theaters, and other attractions have come and gone.
When I think of the 50s and 60s in Canton, I think of a very vital community. A lot happening, especially in the downtown area, a lot of department stores and businesses, people working downtown, shopping downtown.
Many shopping centers and department stores began to flourish throughout Canton in the early 50s. Downtown Canton became very popular for both businesses and recreational purposes.
Canton's first shopping center was Country Fair Shopping Center on Tusk. That started all the way back in 1951. Then you had 30th Street Plaza Shopping, opened in 1952. Then you had Mahoning Road Shopping Center opened up, and Mallet Mall, which is now Canton Center. Downtown you had a lot of your department stores like Stern & Mann's, Halley's, O'Neill's, Kobachers, JCPenney, a lot of shopping downtown too. Young people like to go to a place called the Avalon Restaurant. It was called the home of the Big Sis. People would go to Eckert's. They would go to the Spotless Spot to eat. McDonald's came to Canton around 1960, I believe, and Burger King came shortly after that in the mid-60s. So you started to see the fast food places and the franchises coming to town around that time.
Movie theaters were one of the most popular forms of entertainment during the 50s. The city featured several.
Of course, back in the 50s, there were a lot of movie theaters like the Palace. There were theaters like the Alhambra, the Mozart, the Valentine. So movies were a big entertainment spot.
Central Plaza was a popular downtown spot as well.
The Central Plaza downtown, where you can go ice skating in the winter and just sit out in the outdoors in the summertime, that opened in 1963. And that was really important for downtown Canton because a lot of the buildings starting in the late 50s, early 60s were empty. People were starting to move outside of the city to do their business and pleasure. And so the Central Plaza in 63 was a chance to bring people downtown again for something fun to do.
The most well-known and by far the most popular form of entertainment was, however, Myers Lake Amusement Park.
Myers Lake, the grounds were purchased and turned into an amusement park. And you had the roller coasters and all the rides like you would have at any amusement park, and it was very, very popular. Back, of course, after the World War II, big bands were popular, especially if you would go to the Moonlight Ballroom. You'd have a lot of your big-name orchestras and orchestra leaders coming to play at the Moonlight Ballroom. There were a lot of dances that were held there.
By the arrival of World War II, Canton's factories and plants began manufacturing products to aid the war effort.
In Canton, you had a lot of your businesses, or your industries, especially Timken's and Hoover's, Hercules, Republic, all the steel places, basically went on war footing.
After the war, the men from Canton who were overseas came back to Canton and went to colleges. There were also 4 high schools in the city.
And you had Malone College opening up in 1960. And you had Walsh College. Originally, Walsh was called Canton College. And Walsh College opened up a few years later. At one point, there were 4 high schools in Canton in the 50s. You had McKinley and Timken, and you also had Lincoln High School and Lehman High School. And those were the 4 city high schools. But by 1976, Lincoln and Lehman became junior highs, and then there were only the 2 high schools with McKinley and Timken.
Football has always been very important to Canton. With the addition of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Canton now attracts thousands of football fans from all over the country.
Many people consider that pro football itself started here in Canton, and back in the 20s. Jim Thorpe actually played here in Canton. Of course, you had the Bulldogs. And when time came to consider where they would build a Hall of Fame for football, Canton really put out an effort to bring it here. And it was constructed in the early 60s and has been a major tourist attraction ever since.
To help traffic flow more smoothly, Canton City citizens and officials decided to turn Cleveland and McKinley Avenues into one-way streets.
The big change for one-way streets happened in 1962, and that's when McKinley and Cleveland Avenues became one-way streets. And the reason they did that at the time was to help alleviate gridlock and traffic problems that downtown Canton was experiencing.
The Akron-Canton Airport was originally proposed to be in Stark County, but for some unknown reason the airport is located in Summit County. However, it is used by both Canton and Akron citizens. The airport is also one of the biggest regional airports in the country.
It was dedicated in 1946, and actually, when plans were being developed for a local airport in Canton, it was hoped that it would be in Stark County. But for a number of reasons, the airport ended up more in the Summit County area, and it's kind of shared between Akron and Canton.
The city has seen a lot of changes through the years. Businesses have come and gone, people have left the city in favor of suburban lifestyles, and many attractions have been closed. However, the city of Canton is now going through a revival period, which will hopefully bring both people and businesses back to Canton.